Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So in light of my recent video on Cursing 101, I decided that I would like to make a follow-up video on that particular topic. But now from the perspective of someone who may be a victim of a curse. A lot of times what you see is that people who are the victim of a curse will find a sudden turn of bad luck in particular areas of their lives. Now, what this could mean is that, for example, if you have a finance curse on you, that you may, have a steady job. You may have been in that job for, I don't know, 10 years. You may have had stable, stable savings, stable finances, the whole package. And all of a sudden, perhaps you piss someone off who does magic, and a couple weeks later, you find that your finances go down the drain. You either lose your job. What you will see is that you will find that you are suddenly having things break in your house. For example, your brand new shiny 4-month-old TV breaks down. It's a nice TV that you bought for a couple $100, and boom, all of a sudden it breaks down. Your equipment starts breaking. Your car may start breaking. You know, Basically electronics, valuable wares that you may have to replace and therefore have to spend more money on to replace them. This is something that I have seen a lot actually when I was dealing with similar things like that back in my way early days of encountering certain things from past lives and from other magicians who had, without my knowing at the time because I was still a rookie, that had placed curses on me of that particular nature. That no matter, if you make headway in one particular area of your finances, all of a sudden somewhere something breaks down. You're losing something. For example, you lose your phone all of a sudden out the blue, and you just paid for a new phone or something like that, and now you have to purchase another one. These are all things that are possible, for example, with finance curses. So the general rule is that you will experience a sudden turn that is, I suppose, easily explainable through, and that's of course the nasty thing about curses. You don't always know if a curse is actually a curse or not unless you have the resources to find that out. So you will find if a curse, for example, targets your health, you may find that your health goes down the drain, that you suddenly start becoming sick, weak, energetically, you start feeling um, a little drained under the weather. There's something not quite right about your sickness. And I've had this personally. I have experienced all manner of curses because the person that or persons, I should say, that I trusted when I was a rookie, they did a lot of fucked up shit to me, frankly, which I have since made them pay for. But I speak from experience from both the offensive side as well as the defensive side in this regard. So I can personally attest that these are indeed things that do happen in such a way, and often I find curses to be very sneaky in that sense because it is difficult to tell sometimes whether it's a curse or not. However, again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, if you find the turn of luck, the turn of events to be relatively rapidly, and it is a continuous stream, is what I should add to that. If it is a continuous stream of bad events that just doesn't seem to stop until either your finances are completely crippled, you're homeless, you're bedridden, etc., etc., these are things that are more than likely a curse because and especially if you know someone who practices magic that you may have pissed off or something. Another example of this would be if you start having your mental health impacted. Now, this is a very controversial topic because, of course, in our modern secular society, and again, I am a student of psychology, so I do always recommend people, and I will recommend that here and now as well, to always get yourself evaluated if you have issues with certain things that may be perceived as a mental illness. But on the other hand, I also work in the metaphysical, so I have seen significant negative mental impact on people happening as a result of curses. And this may range from sudden onset of depression, crippling depression, suicidal tendencies, start hearing voices, start seeing things out of the corner of your eye, which actually brings me to a point where it kind of starts tying in with hauntings. But that is a topic that I will, specifically hauntings, that is a topic that I will be discussing more later on. I would like to leave it at this, that some curses may actually utilize hauntings. That is to say that some curses do utilize spirits in their execution of the curse, where it's not just energy that gets put on someone or in someone's energy field or lodged in someone. Sometimes it may also be the case that a hostile magician or a spirit places a servitor or an astral construct in your energetic field in where your brain is, and that way they can cause mental illness as well. You will often find, for example, that people get hit with little darts. To me, that usually appear like little black darts that get lodged in people's energies, in people's auras, and people's bodies, which then inject a form of what I can only describe really as energetic poison almost, that gets pierced through the shields if they have any, if your shields aren't strong enough or not equipped to handle that specific kind of attack. And then they get infected with negative energy, which may or may not be strong enough to cause the person to either manifest a certain kind of illness or negativity in their life by themselves through manifestation power, because that is something that I will touch on in a moment regarding curses and manifestation and self-manifestation, because that is a very important topic to know about. But it may also be that it is simply strong enough to just directly start afflicting one in such a manner. And this will then, in turn, snowball over time as the damage becomes larger, as the damage becomes greater. And yes, this may indeed result in, maybe if going untreated long enough, permanent psychological, neurological damage. Because everything is, of course, energy. And if certain energetic patterns get disrupted for long enough and it does not receive proper treatment, which is what I will be discussing in another video, which I will likely be uploading in a few days from now, regarding energetic healing, regarding magical healing, doing healing spells on people. This is something that can indeed cause permanent issues if the cause is, of course, energetic in that sense to begin with. Some other signs of being cursed are something that you will sometimes hear is sleep paralysis. I am aware that some people think it is a neurological condition, and science certainly does offer solid, backing for that theory. However, I do very firmly believe, from my metaphysical research and engagement with that kind of thing, that it is absolutely, or can at least be absolutely partially a symptom of being cursed or having a malevolent spirit follow you around. Another thing is that, either pets or, people around you may die. You yourself may have brushes with death, although if you, did not survive that, you obviously would not be watching this video. However, with that said about the topic of death, you may have a very strong feeling of doom, gloom, all sorts of, just nasty, life-hating feelings. You may become exceptionally angry. Your emotions may be altered in such a way that just do not seem like you, although this also often does cross over into the area of hauntings, of possession, and all that kind of stuff. Why would someone want to curse you? Well, someone may want to curse you because they are either jealous of you, because maybe you are in line for a promotion at the workplace that they themselves may want to covet. Maybe you are not aware of it, but you may be a very talented individual in the metaphysical, and they may be jealous of your, capabilities. Maybe they are jealous of your finances. Maybe they're jealous of your happy state of your love life. Maybe you are with the person that they want to be with, and therefore see you as an obstacle and feel the need to get you out of the way. Maybe they just are sadists, psychopaths who just want to, practice their curses on you for no good reason. There are many reasons. There are as many reasons to curse somebody as that there are variations of curses, frankly. Um, so how will I be able to tell me personally that I've been cursed? You personally, the viewer. Um, all I can say is that a curse will, while I did say that the onset of bad luck will be sudden, a curse will oftentimes start very subtle. This is usually programmed in such a manner, but it can also be that the curse is initially just weak, too weak to actually influence your life directly, and then you suddenly start noticing a little thing, which is then something that the curse will latch onto, and it will then have an opening to snowball into something greater than it was originally. Alternatively, as I said, it may just be designed that way to go undetected until it has already started doing damage. And this is, in my experience, what is most frequently applied by more experienced magicians, where it will seem like it will be where it seems like nothing happened if you are someone who is unaware, or if you are someone who is aware of magic and metaphysical, where it will seem that, oh, yeah, it didn't do that much, and then down the line it starts spiraling onward. Now, of course, it may be the case that if you have well designed shielding, if you have well designed protections, that indeed the curse does simply not get through. And this is something that I will touch on in other videos regarding protection. When usually the case is for the average person that a curse will start off relatively light, and if no protections or few protections are present, that you will have things snowball very or relatively quickly, I should say. And then we come to the next topic, which would be self manifestation, where, as I mentioned, you start noticing small things and they start happening more and more and more. Now, it may be that not only is the curse doing its work, it may also be that you yourself are actively drawing in negativity through you noticing these things excessively and then drawing attention to it. So sometimes it is really just enough, as is often said, that if somebody knows that you practice magic and they believe in it, and if you then tell them that you curse them, that things snowball until you have, in essence, cursed yourself. And if you do that, that is, of course, pretty much stoppable at any time, but you do need to reverse that mindset. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. You do need to actively rewind your mindset in that sense if you want to undo that kind of self-manifestation. The basic rundown is a lot of curses target specific aspects. They may target your relationships, like your relationship suddenly turning sour, your lover suddenly inexplicably falling in love with someone else, and it seems almost like an obsession, which is of course like a love spell kind of thing. But I consider these curses, by the way, I should add that here, because a love spell directly done on someone else, that in essence violates their free will. Therefore, I consider it a kind of curse because it instigates an obsession in their minds with a particular person carrying out the spell. Now, I understand that some people may not find this a very popular opinion, but it is what it is, because you are, whether you like it or not, violating someone's free will and their cognitive functions in such a manner that you are manipulating it to be forcefully attracted to you. Now, of course, there are different kinds of love spells that you can do on yourself, which are more passive, which help you to draw in, love of a suitable, fitting partner for yourself. These are, of course, not curses because they leave things open for free will and allow anybody to come and go as they please. But that is an example. Your finances suddenly turning bad, your health suddenly turning bad, whether that is mental or physical, maybe even spiritual. Maybe something targets your, spiritual well-being, in which case that will likely also result in depression. It will likely also result in a wide variety of mental, energetic issues where you're either finding yourself drained, you're starting to suddenly, if you're normally a positive person, where you're starting to feel like life isn't worth living. Uh, all of a sudden, out of the blue, these are all sorts of things that can be brought about. Um, what you do need to keep in mind is the strength of the practitioner that placed the curse on you is important. Their skill at applying curses, and if they do indeed specialize in that kind of thing or not. You do need to know if the other party has shielding on it, and they need to be able to figure that out, etc. So there is a wide variety of factors that goes into determining whether you have been cursed or not, or whether it is just you manifesting it on yourself, or maybe the practitioner just wants you to manifest it on yourself. Another thing that I wanted to add here is do not blindly trust any and all practitioners that offer to do you favors out of the blue all of a sudden, because I do also have personal experience with this. That especially again in the early days of my magical career, if you will, in my naivety, I was talked into, having rituals performed on me, which were supposed to be benevolent for me. Like they told me all this bullshit about how they were going to remove some nasty spirit from me, but then it turned out that they had actually removed helpful spirits from me, and that they installed spirits in my energy that were actually not to my benefit, which I have since stripped away, and I've figured all that out. So these are all things that you do very, very much need to be careful of. You do need to be careful who you trust, especially when it comes to magic. It is very unfortunate, but there are so many reasons why people who engage in magic could become or could be very petty towards you as a person. It may not even be anything personal. They may have literally gotten assignments from some spirits that they work with to do something to you because they, in some way, shape, or form, see you as a threat. They may think you are a danger to their plans. The magician may think you are a danger to their personal status or well being. The reasons and ways in which the reasons why and the ways in which curses can manifest, they are so varied that it is actually, it is very hard to give you a, not to give you a non to give you an exhaustive list of all the possible combinations and reasons and methods and how and why. But I do hope that this short, or from my doing short video, is given you some basic and probably somewhat generic pointers to help you determine whether you have been cursed or not. So ask yourself, who did I piss off recently? If I have had an increase in bad luck, if I have had an increase in poor health, my finances have suddenly started deteriorating, etc., etc. And use prudence. Just don't go blindly accuse someone of having been cursed. You may want to do divination on it, perhaps. You may want to do some sort of energetic work, meditate on it. Maybe something will come to you. Maybe consult with your guides and your helping spirits. Consult with spirits that you trust and that you have known for a long time to find out if you have been cursed. Maybe go to an experienced practitioner that you trust and that has a good reputation and that does not want to screw you over in some way, shape, or form, who can hopefully assist you with this kind of thing. So I think that is pretty much all I have to say on this topic. I will be uploading a video on healing in a couple days from now. And thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you all so much, and see you in the next video.